chatting him back and or bringing it up.
If I cut you off, don't get a complex about anything, okay?
No, I'm good.
Not if I fuck up the flow.
Are you ready to rock, Brandon? You got a little intro?
So. We'll see how this goes. I didn't have a whole lot of prep time.
By the one and only, with the one and only, the one and only, John. Can you?
Brutal.
welcome to another episode of Retireholics Sheltering in Place. We are here with our special guest, the one and only, fantastically fantastic John Sullivan. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thanks, man. That intro, I think it's going to give me an epileptic seizure at this point. I mean, it's just your face.
Might be the point.
Yeah,
I'm coming after your job, John. That's why.
Wow, you really don't have to do that to get it, to be honest with you. But
I think we've got a couple fun topics for the day. But before we get started, I wanted to talk about something I'm concerned with. How did this become a JD versus John match type of thing? I'm seeing like bout type pictures on the internet. Everyone's ramping up that you and I are somehow going to go at each other's throats about something. I'm unaware of this.
it makes for a good webcast, right? We got to get the ratings in there, but I don't get it either. Like I said, everybody keeps asking me how I'm going to retaliate. I'm like, I can't retaliate against these guys. I've got a day job. I've got stuff I got to get done, so I'll just leave it to the pros.
Well, I want you to know that we actually have a group note-taking app that we put ideas in, and
right.
one of them is titled "How to Get John."
Yeah,
and we just come up with new ideas.
Through John Sullivan. I know you guys have it there. Yeah,
about 95% of the ideas come from Mark, and it's usually about 1 a.m. when he comes up with them. So
I got a secret weapon, man. Joey, Santos, who works with us, the guy's just sharp, and he usually comes up with some pretty good ones. So just
Brandon,
watch out, fellas.
Yeah, Brandon, why don't you kick him off of the webinar real fast before we get started then?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jim.
I was gonna say I don't want to poke the bear, but when is Joey gonna actually do something good against us? Because I haven't seen it yet.
Keep talking.
All right, let's dive.
Dare you to put us on the cover of your magazine? Dare you?
There it is.
There it is.
Or if you don't want to get that fancy, just sponsor my robe. We'll start there.
I saw that. Either way, it's going to cost me. This is actually, we just did this mock-up for the Advisor 2X people. We love those guys. FI360 as well. We're thinking about putting them on the cover. So thanks for that. I appreciate it, guys.
Well, let's dive right into this.
Yep.
You, and I'm going to put this all on you, Mr. Sullivan. You said that you maybe wanted to talk about Trump versus Biden in a bit of a 401k slant. So why don't I put all the pressure on you? Lay that out for me. What the hell do you want to talk about here?
Well, we can talk about what they're doing. I mean, Biden specifically has his Biden plan for older Americans, something that he certainly knows something about, that's for sure. So, it's up on his website. There's not a whole lot of detail there, as you might expect in the campaign. He doesn't want to get nailed down on anything, but he definitely acknowledges that 401ks and IRAs are instrumental to the retirement security for older Americans, but he takes issue with the fact that most of the tax benefits and tax incentives built into the structure of the plans goes to the top 20% of income earners. And so he wants to bring that down market, so to speak, to middle income and lower income workers. How he's going to do that, again, it doesn't go into a whole lot of detail, but that's really his angle. It's more of almost an income inequality play, but it's a retirement income inequality play.
I'm surprised that he knows what a 401k is, because on Sunday he posted this. So it says Merry Christmas. I don't know. I got that from Kush, Kush 45 on Instagram.
That's me.
Trump, by the way, I've always said with Trump, from the day one, he likes to take applause for the stock market. Like, he is the guy that has made the stock market do so well. And I've always shook my head going, man, as a financial guy, like, what happens when the stock market corrects itself? Then everyone's going to be blaming you for that. That's kind of a bad move from the get-go, right?
Well, when it comes to 409ks, he seems to take the tax. Nothing? Nobody? No?
I'm laughing.
All right, I got you. So yeah, I mean, look, that's his proxy for identifying with the everyman. How's your 401k doing? You're
tweets.
absolutely right. He takes takes a lot of credit for it, which we haven't been hearing a lot about. I wonder why. So you kind of live by the sword, you die by the sword when it comes to 401ks in the economy. And so I think that at this point, though, he has really, with the executive order, broadening MEPs and PEPs and all of that, and the coverage aspect, I think that we've seen all we're going to see from a retirement, kind of initiative for the Trump administration at this point. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot if there is a second Trump administration further with this. I think that he's done everything that he's going to do. One thing that I will say, though, getting back to Biden, I think that you're going to see a rise again of the notion of GRAs, government retirement accounts, first floated by Teresa Ghilarducci. It was something that in our industry, I think, got a lot of, we disparage within the industry itself, but I don't think that we realize just how much play they got outside of our industry. I mean, you have Tony James, who developed the whole concept of guaranteed retirement accounts with Ghilarducci, and he's the CEO of Blackstone, the private equity group. He was on the short list for Treasury Secretary had Hillary Clinton won the 2016 election. So he's definitely going to be a player in a potential Biden administration. I think you're going to start to see some kind of mandatory savings program requirement initiative be raised again. And so that's definitely a threat to the 401k that we should be watching as we move forward here.
John, you've clearly never watched this show before. We don't really provide that much value.
Yeah.
We just drink beers.
You're
and
way
hang out.
smarter than you look.
But I appreciate it. It's funny
So
that
you're
you
saying
mentioned.
that I'm boring everybody is what it
No, it's phenomenal. You're bringing value. It's funny that you mentioned that because I was going to say that if I could make Trump be a certain type of 401k plan or a plan and Biden be one, I was going to say Trump would be a cash balance plan and Biden would be the state-run Cal Savers plan. And
There
you
you
just kind of backed me up there.
That's it.
By the way, Mr. Trump is really good with his financial literacy because I've got a tweet here on my other screen. He tweeted, "Stock market at all-time high." This was obviously a while ago.
Right.
How are your 401ks doing? 70%, 80%, 90% up? Only 50% up? What are you doing wrong?
Yeah.
That's Trump, man. He's
The
pro
best that I like
401k.
is when he was giving marriage advice and saying, that back during the Obama administration, that wives were not honoring their husband and they just thought that they were just pieces of crap. And now they're saying, "Oh my God, honey, you're a genius, a financial genius." And he's helping with supposed marriage therapy. I thought that took some guts, I guess is the best way to put it.
That I don't think that has anything to do with it, right? He's willing
Right.
to say anything. It doesn't require guts to come out in a 50 point tweet.
Yeah, no, you're right.
In all seriousness, no, he is the stock market is very important to him, right? And so he, as a president, if the question is who's better for 401ks, is it Biden or Trump? I mean, you could make the argument that it's Trump because he's obsessed with financial markets and making sure he can do whatever he can to boost them up, right?
Yeah, and we did an analysis, actually, a piece a while back. I can get the link to anybody who wants it, but that's exactly, we took a look at each president and how the stock market did, and 401k specifically did under each president. And Obama so far had done a lot better, and Clinton in the second term just absolutely rocked it. So as good as Trump was doing and taking advantage of the running bull, it still didn't compare to recent past precedents at this point.
Okay, everyone chime in. Who are you going to vote for? I'm kidding. It's fine. You don't have to do that.
Who's the third party candidate?
Judy,
Brandon, are you seeing Joey's links that he's shooting out? Ron Paul, nice job.
Feel free to, Justin, do you have anything from the chat group you'd like to share?
Didn't
Joe's
Mark
got me back.
say he was
Other
gonna run
than
for president?
Joey and Suzanne and plenty of others saying that Retireholics need to be on the cover of 401k Specialist
Thank
magazine.
you. Thank you.
People are speaking, dude.
Thank you so much.
We already
world
have
has spoken.
It's right here.
So you consider yourself a journalist, right, John? I mean, that's what you are, right?
Right.
Journalist.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to
Air
know
quotes.
that we, the Retireholics, consider ourselves journalists as well.
Really?
And Brandon and I were drunk late
Time.
one night, texting each
no,
other.
you guys never.
and we somehow stumbled upon what we think is kind of breaking news. I don't know if Brandon's got anything prepped. If he doesn't, that's fine. But
No.
okay. We were digging around. I don't know why, because that's what we do late night drunk, is look up 401k stuff,
Right.
and found out that the board committee for CalSavers, our state-run plan here in California, is actually meeting tomorrow. And one of the agenda items is to push the deadline, that June 30th
Wow.
deadline, out.
Finally.
So all those people that signed in, you heard it here first. We're breaking the news.
So you're bringing
Great.
value other than drinking?
Yeah.
Oh, take it back. Take it back.
I know,
I'm just-
right?
I'm just saying that felt pretty journalistic to like dig into an agenda and find out that it was on the agenda. Now they haven't approved it yet, but I'm sure they will.
JD, on our last episode, I think it was Nevin's episode, I logged on to the CalSavers website, and right on the front page it says COVID-19 update, and in the middle of it it says, if you're struggling to meet our deadlines, give us a call. Pretty sure that was coming.
Okay. Well,
What you
I
got to
saw-
do is you got to be one of the 4 people that follow their Twitter account.
Brandon's got it. All right. So the takeaway is that Retireholics has gone legit.
Yes.
Bummer.
Yes.
You just
We are-
destroyed your brand.
There's
We are-
2 breakups here though, John. You have Retireholics and then you have Plan Design Consultants. Plan Design Consultants has always been legit. Retireholics, we're still trying to get there.
Right. No, you're not.
So we're now a true media outlet. That's what we are.
That's it.
John, take us seriously, man. Jeez.
With you, bro. I
Okay.
can't. You're a Raiders fan.
Before we move on to the next serious subject.
Yep.
I had a game planned for you because we've been playing a game with all our guests. And I had a really boring game planned where I was going to show you pictures of Shakespeare and Hemingway and see if you could guess who they were. Brandon.
Why
shot
don't you
my-
tell him why your normal game is no longer going to be played?
Well, we might find a way around it, but we play like music clips or movie clips for people, but YouTube doesn't like that. They kick our video off of YouTube because
Okay. Right.
it's not kosher. But so anyways,
Copyright infringement.
Brandon said no to my game because it was so boring and crappy, and he created some of his own. So it's hard for me to kind of lay it out there, but I think you're going to guess at some clips. And Brandon, if you're ready, go ahead and roll the first clip. And John, save your guess till the end of the clip, okay?
All right.
Oh, no words.
Do you know what movie that is?
Okay. Is this wrong answers only?
No, it should be correct answers.
Okay. Sorry. Sometimes they do that on Twitter, right? I was going to go with Godfather, but no. I'm looking at it. I seem to have somehow through that seen Darth Vader. So I'm going to go with Empire Strikes Back.
Is he right, Brandon?
Close enough, man. It was just straight up Star Wars.
That's what I was thinking. Well done, John.
All right,
Hey,
man.
You're 1 for 1. Let's roll the second one.
This one got a laugh, so I'm going to go with this.
You can play along at home, by the way, too. So
No, see, it's, when I was a teenager and I was trying to look at the dirty movies through the TV, just, trained me for this, So I'm going to go with Pulp Fiction.
I don't even have an opinion. Well, you gotta have an opinion. I mean, do you
Come on.
think that God came down from
Good
heaven
call.
and stopped
This is so brutal.
Good.
Kenny got it too.
all right, you are 2 for 2, Sully.
Okay.
Let's
All
do
right.
the next one.
Utah, give me 2.
And this one's right up your alley.
Utah.
Oh, yeah. Come on now. Classic Network.
I don't even know that one.
I
Is
might as
that
well, and I'm not taking it anymore.
that must be a movie from like the 40s or something, because I don't know that one.
Is he right?
Oh, yeah.
Ah,
That was the first one I did. I was pretty sure he was going to get it.
I did
All right,
not
you're-
know that one.
You're 3 for 3. Should we do one more, Brandon?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Nevin says that's you in 10 years, John.
Let me do the one that
10
you
years.
got.
I did that yesterday.
That's what
Okay,
Joey
you-
said.
I'm gonna do the one that you got like right off the bat.
Okay.
It's right here, right? It's looking at me. He's an ugly little spot, isn't he? I think he can hear you, right?
That's Bill Murray, man. You can't miss that.
Very
Man,
good.
Slimer.
We're gonna have to make
Yeah.
this game a little harder next
Think
time,
so.
Brandon.
I was gonna say different game, but Jania was talking crap, right? That nobody was gonna pass, or no, it was Nevin saying that no one was gonna get past his 2 of 3, and John just got 4 of 4 there.
And
Sorry.
it's a damn.
That was a little different game.
I guess I'll
sure.
pixelate them a little more next time.
For sure.
Nevin got 2 of 3. I
No,
remember
sorry, that was
sucking.
Rick. That was Rick Unser.
If I remember, I think Nevin was pretty bad at the game. But
He confirmed.
He admits it, yeah.
he confirmed.
Because he couldn't see on his 1995 surplus technology there.
Oh
All
boy.
right, now we got a legit question flowing through here. We know about
Shoot.
Trump's positions with respect to 401ks. What does he know about Joe Biden's potential positions on 401ks?
Yeah, he
What
was
does
talking
Joe
about it.
Biden know about Joe Biden?
Again, he wants to take the tax breaks down from the top 20%. He says is getting the most benefit, bang for the buck, from the tax incentives that are built into the structure of the 401k and the IRA. He doesn't say how he's going to do it. He doesn't say why he's going to do it, but he says that that's really the outstanding issue right now. He does, as I said, acknowledge the fact that that they at least play a significant role in getting retirees to where they need to be with regards to income in retirement, but he wants to make sure that's a little bit more equitable.
It's the Biden plan for older Americans, right?
That's it.
That's what he named it. I didn't make that up.
No, that's it.
Good stuff.
Thank you for the questions. Feel free to shoot them at Justin if you have any. But let's move on. Am I allowed to talk about what will be on the next cover of 401k Specialist magazine?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
So we'd
so
love to, if it's not too promotional, absolutely.
no, so you tell us who's going to be on the cover because we know it's not going to be us. No, Mark, it's not us.
It's
And,
not
Yes,
us,
Mark.
it's just me.
And then you lay out the
Just in my
subject
room.
matter, this retirement crisis, I believe. But go ahead, John, tell us about
Now,
it.
now that you guys have gone legit, you definitely upped the possibility of you guys getting on the cover. But no, it's Andrew Biggs. Anybody who knows Andrew, he was a former principal deputy commissioner with the Social Security Administration. He is a Forbes columnist, and then he's also the senior fellow at the conservative think tank, American Enterprise Institute. He's really taking on some of the narratives out there that he sees as irresponsible journalism, us accepted, of course, about trying to scare people with sensational headlines. So he's deconstructing those headlines. And he's really just laying out the numbers and letting the numbers do the talking for him. So, he says things like since 1979, retiree household income has actually increased by 90%, over inflation, while wages for working Americans have risen about half that. And so retirees have gone from a disproportionately poor portion of the society to a disproportionately rich portion of society, when compared with other sections or populations of society. So, we're moving in the right direction. There's still definitely problems that has to be addressed, but for the most part, the sensational headlines about how we're going to run out of money and it's going to be, senior citizens fighting over scraps, they don't seem to play out. And he does a very responsible, as I said, deconstruction of some of those more sensational headlines within our piece. So it's really kind of fascinating. As I said, he doesn't want to diminish some of the serious issues that we still have to deal with, but as George Fraser, one of our favorite advisors, said, it's better to hit people with hope rather than trying to scare them when you're trying to influence behavioral change. And so that's exactly what Andrew was talking about.
Is part of the narrative that old conversation of 401ks replaced pension plans and they're not working and we should have just stuck with pension plans? Is that part of it at all or no?
Yeah, it is. Well, he takes that on. I mean, obviously, Ted Benna used to talk about this, that the good old days weren't the good old days, right? When you talk about defined benefit plans that very few Americans, or far fewer than expected, actually had, that you would think had defined benefit plans. And there was even in the structure, the vesting structures were very long. There was even some sexism built into the vesting schedules, that there was 30-year vesting schedule for men, but 35-year vesting schedule for women. And if you got fired the day before you were to retire, you got nothing. So, he takes on some of that, we got to go back to the great old days when, individuals were not responsible for their own retirement. And it's just a kind of a ridiculous argument at this point.
Yeah. And I also, go ahead, Chad.
Sensational headlines is always what gets people hooked in, right? You mentioned at the beginning of this, even the battle between JD and John is going to get more people to tune in, and
Sure.
it did.
Right.
And if they want folks to read these articles, hopefully they're not sensationalizing the data on the back end. And that's what he's saying, is that they are. They're forming the data to create this story that he doesn't believe is true. That's where we have an issue. JD, if you recall, we did a 401k Academy. It would have been 2010. It would have been my first year with you, where I stood on stage and I did a sales pitch essentially for why the New York Giants were going to win the Super Bowl that year. And they were not good. And then I did a sales pitch for why the Niners were going to win the Super Bowl that year. And all I did was pull statistics that supported my story. And that's kind of what he's getting at, is that nobody's really breaking open the other side of this can other than him. They're all focusing on the statistics that support their story, that we have a retirement deficit and people are going to be looking for scraps. And as soon as you start to uncover the numbers that he's diving into, it becomes pretty apparent that that's not true. The problem is that the vast majority of people don't do the research to figure that out. They just read the article and go, oh shit, we got an issue.
Well,
What typically happens is that, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead. You're the guest, bro. Go ahead.
Sure, I can do whatever I want, right? Yeah. So that's what he was saying, is that typically you'll have a study that's produced by an organization that has a dog in the hunt, that has an agenda, that is trying to feed a narrative. And the stories are then single sourced, which is something that we never used to do in journalism, right? It was always multiple sources. And it was just this one study that found this one thing that they're blowing out of proportion that just feeds, as you said, the sensational headlines. And it's all to get clicks. Look, I fall victim to it too. I've got a great managing editor, Brian, who you all know. And, part of his job is to pull me back on some of this stuff because it's so easy to fall into. And so I'm glad that I have kind of a straight man here who's more responsible than I am, that's saying, nah, we probably shouldn't do it that way.
The negative headlines, the clickbaity kind of stuff.
You know how it is, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to back up Frazier and say, and this is kind of sounds cliche, but we need to focus on what we can do, right? And so that hope that he talks about, let's look at the 401k plan. And you talked earlier, John, about how maybe it's not perfect. Right. So let's find the areas that we can refine it and make it better. And I think that a lot of the people that are on this, do we call this a webinar? No, but a lot of people that are on this, that's exactly what they're trying to do is make 401ks better, make them more impactful, spread the word. And that's where we should focus as an industry. That's what the headline should be about, are creative ways to make it better.
One thing that he said that was really interesting is that one of the criticisms is that the 401k was never designed as a retirement system. And he says that's actually a good thing. When we try to over-engineer something, it usually goes south and goes south really quickly. The fact that it wasn't designed as specifically as a retirement system is probably one of the reasons why it works so well. So there's something to that argument, I think.
I'll say, and I'll add this in terms of to the sensational headlines, is for the folks who don't pay as much attention to this business as we all do, if the headlines aren't sensational, then traction and action probably won't be taken.
Right.
I think you need that to get some politicians, some other folks on board with the fact that we need to continue to improve this industry.
Okay.
And if you can't get them tuned in feeling like there's a problem, then nothing's going to happen.
Okay. So Chad says throw grenades. All right, good, man. I'm all on board.
Support it with arguing both sides of the debate, but throw grenades in the headlines, get people tuned in.
Okay.
It's actually a great segue, Chad. The last conversation I wanted to have was kind of focus on 401k Specialist magazine, the website, the whole thing, the media juggernaut that you are.
Yeah, juggernaut. Yeah.
You had told me that here we are in these tough times, this COVID pandemic, and you told me that people are coming to your site more than they ever have, right?
Last month, our traffic quadrupled. And I don't think that's necessarily unique to us, but it's just with everything that's going on with the CARES Act, even with the Secure Act. Anybody remember that? I mean, that just kind of just got buried here, right, with everything that's going on. But they're hungry for a lot of things, specifically to how to classify their employees, to furlough, to make sure that they don't have to just dissolve the plan, just make sure that they get those steps right. And so it's just been such a hunger for information that, I said that I feel guilty about it. I've said this quite often, that I almost feel like the Enron trader during the rolling blackouts, and the wildfires, burn, baby, burn, as we were making money off of that, right? And that's kind of how I feel, that we have this absolutely horrific event that's unfolding and happening before our eyes that is good for us and good for our traffic. So, I try not to overthink it, that people are looking for the information. We're there to provide it for them and to help out ultimately. But yeah, there's definitely been a significant increase in traffic and interest.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
You're profiting from our misery, you son of a bitch.
You're back at home just laughing about this. Come on.
Yeah.
Those 4X of people that are going there. I mean, obviously your intended audience is plan advisors, right? So that's, to me, that's really telling about their headspace right now. So
to a certain extent, but what we've noticed that there's a pretty significant pass-through rate. So they'll take a lot of what we're printing and they'll pass it off to plan sponsors and say, hey, take a look at this. So yes, it is primarily written to advisors, but a lot of this, the information can be then turned to plan sponsors. And so we do get a lot of indications that that's happening, which is good.
Yeah.
Boring question. So when you're writing these pieces, are you thinking about the advisor as your audience, or are you thinking that you have to write it for everybody?
No, definitely the advisor. Yeah.
You write it for the advisor.
Yeah, and I try to keep it, and I don't have it anymore, but I used to have the actual a picture of who the ideal advisor was that I was writing to kind of remind myself. I'm not gonna go through who that is or the demographic.
Hey, Ron, where are you? Where is Ron right now?
Brandon's saying that if you could picture the perfect advisor, it'd be Potachin.
Okay.
I don't know if I agree. I say the perfect advisor is Jeannie Fisher.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
She's on. Hashtag 401k lady. Yeah, no. So I think it's really interesting that they're coming there for that, and that now you have to be that. There's a responsibility on your shoulders to make sure that you're delivering the right information to them and doing it in a timely fashion, because this stuff's coming at us so quickly. Do you feel that pressure?
Yes, I do. A lot more now. Thanks, JD. Yeah, I mean, we do. We're trying to make the information as topical and relevant as possible. And so it's coming to us almost in real time. And that's the digital world, right? That you can get feedback in almost real time in terms of what people want and what we need to address next. And Joey, as I mentioned, Santos is very, very good about getting us the keywords that people are searching on, what they want to know. And we kind of tailor the content to that. We don't want to be, necessarily just kind of chasing the content. We want to be a little bit more proactive than reactive, but it certainly helps to have that real-time feedback in terms of what people want.
So in addition to the website, and I know that you do the TAPO Awards and you're at conferences and doing a supporting role there. And as I critique you right now or give you some ideas, I want you to know that I think you guys do a very good job. I've told you that before, that I think the way you put out content is cool. And I think the magazine's got a cool flow to it. And here I am, the surfer. So take this for what it's worth. But in the surfing industry, we have magazines. And one of them is called, I don't know why this is going to sound creepy, but it's called Stab is the magazine. It's kind of the biggest publication right now. It's taken over Surfer Magazine and Surfing Magazine.
Right. Yeah.
And anyways, what I noticed from them beyond their digital website is they're like a true media hub. Like they have one-on-one interviews with the top surfers. They do advertorial stuff where they get together with a Quicksilver or a Rip Curl and they'll do a 25-minute profile piece on this or that, and they're just constantly throwing cool media at me. But for you, I just get you standing there with a mic next to some industry person. Are you going to bring some creative stuff and keep me entertained and teach me at the same time? What the fuck's going on over there?
All right. So yes, I know everybody's getting sick of the standard intro. Hi, this is John Sullivan with 401k Specialist from the floor of the X conference. I'm joined
nailed
by,
it.
I could pretty much say that in my sleep at this point. So
The one and only, with the one and only.
Sorry.
Brandon Fredo, I told you, you were my favorite brother, no longer.
Do you have plans? Do you have some creative ideas? What's Joey cooking up? Come on, what's going on over
That's
there?
it. Yeah, so we've been talking about this for a while, that the format is getting stale, that we need to shut down and revamp, and kind of like Kramer and Newman on Seinfeld when they had the Merv Griffin set up, and then it just played its course. Again, I'm dating myself here, obviously, but so yes, a short answer. We got stuff in the works. We realize that it's getting a little stale. It was fun while it lasted, but what we were thinking is that we were going to have a couch and that we were going to bring people over and talk like craft beer and 401ks. And
You're a little behind the 8 ball on that one.
Fantastic.
I got another F word for you that's not fantastic. I'm about to drop.
Truth is, you could probably do it a little better than us. So give it a shot.
All right. So here we go.
I say that though, and I honestly mean that. Like, I feel like I want to tune into a podcast from 401k Specialist magazine. I want to see a 15-minute or a 10-minute profile video on a top advisor or a firm. I want to see you take me inside Voya and something they're working on. I want to see that stuff the same way I see it from my surfing publications. Chad, looks like you want to.
So I'll say, John, to JD's horn, I agree. Much of what we get from the record keepers is set up in a true marketing communication.
Right.
If there was an aggregator like you guys are, where you have all of this information and this access and your true journalist that would go in there and ruffle the feathers a little bit and look at what they are and are not doing, and communicate that in an objective way, I would tune in every single week to listen to that.
Okay, it's good to know. The issue that we got right now is that for quite a while, and even with everything that's going on with COVID, that we're still like this at this point. So it's an allocation of resources, and so we want to get to all these great ideas. It's just a question of when. So, I guess what I should say is stay tuned.
It's a beautiful problem to have.
It is. It really is. We're trying to manage this beast of growth right now. We're at that stage, transitioning from a startup to a more mature company, and it's pretty exciting, but it's a lot of work, no doubt about it, which is good.
Yeah. I will tell you, I get asked the question often where I get some of my information from when I'm chatting with advisors, and it's easy for me to come back to you guys in the publications, to come back to ARA, because I know I can depend on the research that's been done and the comments that are being made. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, this is really nice, guys. I feel weird because I feel like we should be busting on each other, but now things have gotten weird.
We're trying to tell you what to do. I don't know.
Right, yeah. Butter me up.
You should be pissed right now. You should be like, great, I go on these guys' freaking show and they tell me that my magazine sucks and I need to make it better and do this or that. Like,
No,
did somebody
it's
warn
because
me?
You guys always hit me so hard everywhere else that I'm just completely defensive and ready to go. And then now you're throwing me off again with all this nice compliments that you're shooting my way.
All right, we got to
Let's
Go ahead,
officially end the show soon, and then we'll
Yeah.
jam for a while.
Can we just
Why did you,
roast John for the next 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Mark,
Justin, go ahead. What do we got from the audience?
John, why did you wear the dress at University of Vermont?
Say what?
Why did you wear a dress at the University of Vermont?
Wear a dress at the University of Vermont? I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's coming from the chat. Somebody's writing it in the chat. Someone's trying to.
Somebody from the old days who knows something about me when I drank too much. Okay, good to know.
Said you pop up to it too. Anyways, okay, so actually a serious question. How does the Biden plan for older Americans play with millennials? What do you think?
That's a really good question. I don't think it plays.
That's not a question he can answer.
What does that mean?
Mark, answer that question.
You're not a millennial. Is that
Ouch. Ouch.
I always bust on millennials, and I get a lot of blowback on Twitter and social media for busting on millennials, and it's fun, and I'm not going to stop. But yeah, go ahead, Mark. You answer this one.
Yeah, Mark,
I don't
answer.
know. It's a
Typical millennial answer.
Yeah, I was just, how about this? I don't care. Isn't that a millennial answer?
There you go.
Yeah.
Whatever, right?
Whatever.
Does it
No,
It's only 4 years, maybe 8.
Yeah.
To answer the question, I think it's going to play pretty well because I think that anytime you bring up income inequality, it's going to, especially with the younger people, resonate, and that's how he's pitching this as it's really more of just an egalitarian play. So, I think it's kind of a smart move if he's going to attack anything within the 401k system and not really have to do much in terms of changing it. This is probably the way to go about it. Again, it's so vague, it could just mean absolutely nothing at this point. There's no specifics behind it, but this is kind of at least how he's put it out there initially, which is somewhat encouraging.
All right, Biden. Everyone's interested in Biden's plan for 401k. I had no idea. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. And John, what we do is we kind of wrap it up for the official thing. Brandon then turns this into a somewhat decent 9-minute video. Yes, Mark.
Okay. This is
Don't.
the reason our show. Notice, John, this is not about
Don't.
you, but you're here, and you like this person, so it works.
Okay, cool.
This is a total derailment of the entire show, but
Sure.
the reason our show exists is because of Brandon Carlson, who just celebrated a birthday on Sunday.
Hey.
Yes.
I didn't have anything to put. I would have stuck it in a beer can, but I don't have one. But I have Rice Krispie treat with a candle, and we're gonna sing Brandon Carlson "Happy Birthday."
Okay.
On my
the
three.
show
1, 2,
ended
3.
5 minutes ago.
Hold on, let me grab another beer.
Birthday.
To you. Happy
Happy
birthday to you.
Fuck.
Happy birthday, dear Brandon. Happy birthday
To
you. All right.
birthday, Brandon.
See, now I'm going to go on the Masked Singer, Mark, because everybody heard my wonderful singing voice.
All right, Mark. Sign us off with your classic sign off.
It's not my sign.
Don't touch your face, ding dong.
Don't touch your face, ding dong. Thanks for tuning in. We are the Retireholics, and we are changing the retirement plan industry one shitty Zoom meeting at a time. Peace.